to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Charles Norella,
Here.
Don McDonough,
Here.
Shane Bailey,
Here.
Jane Marco, here, Craig Spewak,
Here.
John Arthur,
Here.
Don Miller,
Here.
Darren Howell, Chris Farrell, Doug Goodall.
Okay, we got 6 present and 1 absent. I want to go to the new company that's requesting some time here today, which is Southern today. Okay. This is this is Mick Goodwin. What is that?
Mills
Engineering, and Joe Reese from Mills Engineering, in regards to the Bobcat company that's coming into town. Oh, okay, you're up.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I apologize. We kind of left in a hurry to get out here in time, so I didn't bring an easel and a real fancy presentation for you. So I have old school kind of hard copy stuff. How many copies do you want? So I will leave a copy with you. This is the stormwater report. I don't know if I can put this somewhere that makes sense. Let me just introduce the project first, and then we can pass those around and we can take a look at it. So, again, Mick from Mills and Joe is here with me. We're working on behalf of Bobcat of Wayne County. They have a store right now in Homesdale, and they're moving to the site just up from Belmont Turnpike and Route 6 across from the Dollar General. Probably see if you've been out that way. It's been cleared. The neighbor next door, I think, was just in front of you guys for his trailer lot project that he's got going on there. He's a little ahead of us. So yeah, I mean, they're putting in, it's an equipment sales and operation facility. If you're familiar with what the Bobcat dealerships are, they're not real big. They'll have both equipment sales and repairs. I don't know if you've ever been to Tunkhannock. The primary owners are the same owners as Bartron Supply. They're a big John Deere dealer in Tunkhannock. And then they have a couple of these Bobcat stores in different areas. So they're coming to town. I guess they're already basically in the county, but they're coming to Waymart Borough, assuming they can get all their approvals. And they're excited to be here. The Bartron family has owned the property for some time. There was previous to this, and I thought it was more recent, but I guess it was probably back in the 80s. There was a shopping center, I believe, proposed for this area, this lot.
That was the first.
Yeah, so, and that course was never built, but some of the infrastructure was built. There was some stormwater stuff put in, there was some water and sewer put in. So when we first looked at this site, we thought, great, finally a half-decent site that we've got plenty of room, stormwater will flow, we've got room to put stormwater facilities. And then we find out there's a water and sewer line runs right through the middle of the property.
Oh dear.
Right through the middle of it. So we've been working with the Waymart Authority on the sewer and working with Aqua on the water. We think that we're in good shape there. Now we'll probably be relocating the sewer. The sewer only goes through here. There's the cardiac place and maybe one other. They pumped into the gravity line that was put in here, which would have been in front of the old street. It never got built. So we're working with them to relocate the sewer. Water's going to stay where it is. Just tap into the water line. What else can I tell you? So we can obviously look at the drawings up and pass these around if you're familiar with looking at it. What we need from the council, of course, and we'll do anything you need from us, but in terms of approvals, because of the use, being equipment sales and operation, we believe that's a conditional use in your zoning ordinance, so we would need the council to vote on the conditional use at some point, so we'd be requesting that to be considered as a conditional use so we can move forward with, we need land development approval, we need PennDOT permit, we need stormwater permit, we need those kind of things yet. Don't need any variances or waivers, at least as of now. You know, if it gets reviewed and something comes up that it's determined that maybe a waiver to your subdivision land development ordinance is necessary, or a variance to your zoning ordinance is necessary, certainly we would have to entertain trying to get through that process. But as of now, we're not thinking about any waivers or variance being necessary. Meet all the setbacks, impervious coverage, all those kind of things. Plenty of room for stormwater to be done on site. We're handling that through an infiltration and detention basin, so all that water will get collected from all that new impervious surface. It'll go in and get stored, get slowed down. Actually, we were surprised because we had told the client initially, when we looked at there, we thought it was solid rock. You're not going to infiltrate anything out there because you could see some of the rock at the surface, but out front was actually excellent for infiltration. We got almost 15 inches of water of that rock. So that was good from a stormwater infiltration standpoint. You know, today's rules about stormwater, they want you to put it all back into the ground and recharge the groundwater and not pollute the Chesapeake Bay, I guess is basically the rule. So obviously we're going to try to do that. We've got a PennDOT access to acquire off of Route 6. Now currently the site, and again, feel free, if you want to pass them around, anybody wants to look at them, I'll put them in front of you. I apologize for not having something here I could just show you as I'm standing here.
Size doubling
Remember the exact size?
9,000 square feet, I believe it's 120 by 75. 120 by 75.
Yeah, so it's not a huge building. It's going to sit up from the road. If you're familiar with that site, the land actually sits up significantly higher, not way up on a hill, but significantly higher than the road. So the aesthetics of it is going to be hidden a little bit. All of their, you know, the storefront and all that will be facing the road. All of their yard area for bringing in any equipment to be serviced or waiting to be serviced into the back doors of their building where their service bays are. It's all going to be in the back. It's all going to be fenced in. So it won't be visible from the road. It won't be visible to their neighbors. You know, noise pollution, that kind of thing is not a concern. So what I was getting to is the current site has a shared access agreement with the cardiac facility next door. I don't know who the owner is around. Yeah. Okay. So there is a shared access agreement for this driveway right here, which originally we were going to use. Decided against that due to the difficulties of the grade to get in and out of the site. So that access easement still exists, but there's not going to be access at that location. The access will be further down. If you look at the drawing, the S1 drawing, which is after that AC1 that you're looking at, you'll see where the driveway access is proposed, kind of in the middle of the property. It's got concrete overturns for the tractor trailers. They will have tractor trailers maybe one a day coming in and out of here, if that. Certainly not a lot of tractor trailer traffic, or, you know, this isn't something to do with gas industry or anything like that. We're going to have water trucks and frac trucks. And that.
You're coming off Route 6 with
Yes.
the access to it, not over in the little road coming up between. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw something about that. I think James sent it out. And it was regards to what you were going to name that road, Skid Road. Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
I
out.
have all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's out, and so we're coming off 6.
Yes, so we're not coming in through the back where there was an old access. Actually, the neighbor, when we were first out there, actually kind of walking the property. He called us right after that. We started talking a little bit about the project. He was really excited to have somebody coming into town next to him. Was very willing to work with
We've
us.
been fooled 3 or 4 times, believe me.
Yeah, so, you know, they were just a little bit ahead, and there was, you know, the original plan for that strip mall that was proposed here included the lot for the trailers. So there were stormwater facilities, there's ponds over there, there was inlets put in for all that. And we started looking and said, it's just not going to work. But he said, yeah, just go ahead and dump your stormwater over here. I'm like, you know, that's not normal for neighbors to be telling us that. But if we can work together with a common plan, we could do something. Right. For the most part, you know, there's really nothing where we're sharing anything through the neighbors really at all. So it's all kind of standalone, independent. benign, I think, from in terms of
Yes.
what it's doing, and the visuals will be real nice. We actually, I didn't bring them with us, but we have some renderings from the architect that kind of does a drive around. You're looking at it from the road, you're looking at it from different locations. That's important to the client. They want that visibility, but they also want to be somewhat non-obtrusive, I guess I'll say, so they're not sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yeah,
So,
and the other company across the street did talk to us in that way. They're
Yeah.
doing their best they can to put up a nice building.
Yeah.
And if we interjected, if we had to, because it's something we didn't like,
Yeah.
we could talk to them again about that.
Yeah, you know, obviously, that's when it's nice, and that's why we want to obviously be in front of you. We need approvals, true, but we also want any constructive input that you've got, or anything that, you know, that you guys have seen or have had issues with. Certainly bring those to our attention.
No signage out front?
The signage right now is going to be on the building. They have not indicated to us they're going to put a sign out front. There's an existing billboard out there now that they don't, nobody's given them any revenue for, but there's advertising going on. And he's owned this property for a while. He goes, I don't really know that I'm supposed to be allowing other people to advertise on my property. But, so that could end up being their advertising on that billboard. I don't know. That's been there a while. It's electronic.
You already gave permission about 6 years ago for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so, I don't think so, but any signage, either on the building or freestanding, we've got notes on these drawings, they have to comply with your ordinance in terms of size, things like that, number of signs, size of signs.
Standalone requires a permit, but not on the building itself.
Right, yep, and there are size requirements. I think a standalone sign, there could be 2 maximum, and if it's a double sign, I think there's a rule about that. And then the building, I don't think there was restrictions on how many, but probably the size or the square footage comes into play. So this won't be overdone from a signage standpoint, trust me. They're new facilities. Bobcat's kind of a standalone dealer that's putting a lot of these satellite buildings out there right now. And everyone I've seen has been really nice.
And there's a lot of traffic out there now, it's safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the businesses.
Yeah. Right across from the Dollar General, so I mean the area's kind of set up. There's already turn lanes in place. From that standpoint, you know, the grade of the road was a little bit tricky for us to get up in there at a grade that was acceptable. 15% from the driveway or tractor trailer. We made that work. Everything from about half of the building forward will be paved, you know, out in front of the building, and then the driveway down, and everything behind it, there's going to be a gate and a fence. The backyard will be all fenced in for security. That's, at least as of now, going to just be a gravel lot. Still considered impervious, you know, from a stormwater standpoint, from a runoff standpoint. There will be a gravel yard in the back, like I said.
And you said that fence is for privacy also behind the building? Sort of, I don't know.
Yeah, I think for now, I think the idea would be to put chain link fence in. Now, to the back side, they're kind of up against the ledge.
Okay.
The neighboring properties, that would be, I believe, residential up in the back.
Okay.
Quite a ways away. We actually walked up in there to look, so they're not looking down on it. There's nothing up against it, and they're not in a direct line of sight. Just woods and trees and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's that far back there.
Yeah.
It isn't near there at all, so that's good.
That is good, yeah. And as far as the site itself, I mean, there was some junk that was starting to grow. It was cleared at one time, and maybe some, you know, some Russian olive or some couple locusts, some junk like that was growing. I think they cleared that. But in terms of, you know, decent trees, there aren't any, so there's nothing there to save. But the backwoods, the back vegetation line, the screening line is all going to be left. Any vegetation down this property line will be left. When they cleared it, they pushed a lot of the rock and what they found, and I'm sure they dug out some back here. They pushed it into piles along the edge. It's all now in the brush. You can hardly see it unless you walk around it.
For your information, that's the Waymart Road. So if you go up 296 and turn into the Waymart Road past Overages, then the back of their house is there, is what is talking about that strip in between that.
So Pretty simple, straightforward project compared to some, that we've gotten involved with, and obviously you've probably seen. So if you have any questions on what, how, when,
Right now, from the ground, so if anybody has any questions, go right ahead. Good. All right, anybody from the audience, because I know we have a couple people that live in that neighborhood, and,
I live right across from
he
it.
raised his hand first.
Go ahead.
Hi. I'm Wayne Maycheck. I'm the back neighbor to that,
Yes.
and I'm just curious about the amount of light pollution coming from that.
So right now, they don't have any lighting proposed in the back except what's on the building. And unfortunately, there's no lighting rules in your ordinance. But regardless of that, there's even notes on here, when the lighting gets done, all that lighting will be shielded. There'll be no light spillage over the property line. Not downward facing, all shielded towards any property line in any direction.
Kind of like
towards
the J trailer, how
Yep.
we have it.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, if you're looking right at it, you're gonna see something that's lit up, and I don't think it's gonna be, Walmart parking lot lit up at night when they're not there. But some security lighting, I'm sure, will be around, at least around the building. Certainly no intent to be intrusive to anybody at all. So, not a major lighting issue. Okay,
I live on 296 on the opposite side where all the water is,
yes, okay.
the first house up. I want to know the drainage coming down that road. Where is the runoff going to go?
So it all goes, everything from this site currently just all runs to the front, to the Route 6. And it's carried down, it goes under that existing driveway. So you guys can see it goes under that existing driveway, goes on down, and I'm not really sure. It eventually makes its way to Van Auken Creek on down the road.
It's all headed towards Dow in general.
Yeah, a lot of there's kind of a break line when you get up into the property where a lot of that water goes to the back, and then you're up against that ledge, and it kind of goes over onto the neighbor who's done the trailer lot. So anything contributing from up above is already cut off, and it goes that way and goes over there to die. I don't even really know. We tried to follow, even by contour, and it just looks like it goes over there and sort of dies out on his land.
My other question was, is it going to change our zoning?
No.
Now, it won't change the zoning,
Being it would be on 296 if they use that access.
which they won't, right? At least there's nothing right now.
they're not gonna use that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the trailer access.
So this is a
That's what
general
I'm saying, so
commercial.
is it going to change the zoning by us?
No. So this lot here is in general commercial. So this, it fits, but it's a conditional use. So it's not a principal permitted use, it's a conditional use. Which basically means it just wasn't really addressed in that zone, but it's acceptable as long as the council agrees with that. If it were something that was not permitted in that, we would require to go through the zoning hearing board, and that's a different process.
So what are they going to put up, like a pole barn? 'Cause
No, it'll be
you'll
maybe
be
a
blasting
pre-engineered
for a
building.
year.
Yeah, no, it's actually, with the grading that we have, there won't be a whole lot of excavation to do. They actually may have to bring in some dirt to create some grade to create their yard. In terms of putting the building in the ground, there won't be a whole lot. There'll be some foundation work to do.
Because I know when they were going to put the mall up in there,
Yeah,
it blasted
you
and
can see
blasted.
they blasted,
We
yeah.
had cracks here and cracks there, so did they.
I bet, yeah. There's
That's
a
why
lot
I'm
of rock.
asking.
A lot of big rock pushed into the woods. And you can see where they quarried it out to flatten that. So, good question. But the stormwater is handled. It all runs towards 6. Anything that's going to change is running towards 6. Goes through a basin,
Okay.
slows it down, puts it into the ground if it can, and there should be very little outflow from that basin, if any. So.
Do you have copies of those that we can get a copy
We're
of?
certainly going to leave the copies here, and then they're available for anybody.
I just want to show them to my husband.
Sure. Yeah.
What lot? How big is the lot?
Both parcels are 6.3,
Square
6.4
footage.
acres. What's that?
Do you know the square footage?
For the lot, I mean, 6.3 acres times 43,560, if anybody's got a calculator in terms of square footage.
Square footage would be
So there's a table if you want to look back for
280,000
coverage.
square feet.
there's a table up front in terms of lot coverage and things like that. So the lot coverage required for this site or allowable is 50%, and we're at about 3.25%. So that lot coverage is the impervious coverage to change from vegetated coverage to, say, gravel paved for building. So for the whole 6.25 acres, we're a little over 3%. That's what that says.
Thank you.
Craig, do you have anything
What else?
No, you're good too. Thank you.
Thank you. So
Presentation.
so what happens next, I guess?
What happens next is, one thing they're very reasonable, we don't have to have a zoning hearing. And I know we discussed this afternoon, and I had checked, I'll bring the stuff out here, I forgot much of it in there. That it's on a conditional use, the next step will be to vote on the conditional use and send a letter to the Wayne County Department of Planning, stipulating that they will send it for their review.
Okay. And how do the plans
They
get?
can take one of those down.
What's the
Well,
easiest
we
way?
can take them down, or you can take them down.
I was gonna say,
They're up in Tunkhannock.
is that possible?
No.
If somebody goes that way from here, that can take
Yeah,
them?
just give me out.
I'll leave it like that. Does that work?
Yep, I go to home sale all the time.
All right. So we also have the plans in stormwater report on that.
Okay.
And that too. So.
We have to formulate the letter and take it with us down to the planning office, and then they'll consider it.
Okay.
You know, they'll have review of it.
Yep. And then you'll get those comments back, and if there's anything,
Right.
you'll correspond with us.
Right.
And we'll go from there.
Yep, no problem.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time.
So leave 2
I'll
copies.
leave
and-
two with you.
Okay,
I'll get you the stormwater reports.
all right, thank you.
That's that. Anything else, Nick? Please?
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Mike and Joe, right?
Yeah.
Mike and Joe. Mike and
Nick.
Mike.
Yeah, is it Mike?
Is it Nick or Mike?
Either. Just don't throw things at me.
I have Mike Goodwin.
Nick is fine, M-I-C-K.
M-I-C-K is
It's Michael, but there.
Gotcha. And Joe Reese.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nick.
Your phone number and everything else is on here, right? So
It's yeah, there's our title blocks on there. You can pull our phone number and stuff
Okay.
off of that.
Thank you.
We're gonna do
Did you want to say something else, Mr. Reese?
No, I think Mike did a good job, and like I said, we're excited for the project, and hopefully everyone here is as well.
So that set of plans, are you gonna bring those back here? The only thing I say, we just don't want them circulating out there in case they get changed.
Oh, no, they wouldn't go anywhere. I'll go back to him.
That's the only
She can give it to me.
That's fine.
No, I'll take it.
Whatever works for you guys.
Okay.
Whichever one.
Thank you.
Pardon?
Have a
We're
safe
going.
trip home.
All right, thank you.
Later, you guys.
I'll leave a couple cards in case anybody needs
That'd
to
be great.
contact us.
He would have come out, but he's working all the way down in Lewisburg.
Thank
So
you.
he's getting up at 3:30 in the morning.
All right, thank you all.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anybody wants card?
Minutes. So the agenda's there for minutes.
Yeah, okay, yep. All right, let's see. Previous, minutes of the previous meeting, we need approval on.
I'll make them all.
Okay. Randy Thorpe
I'll second it.
and Jane Barco second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? All in favor? Bill list review, Michelle Gagowski.
I have two additions that I think we could have done here. First bill is to the Northeast Inspection Consultants for zoning and permits, and that is $562.95. The other one, Staples, that hasn't been done, if we have that on there.
Which one is
The
that?
Staples,
Yes, I have to state this one. Now, this bill was obtained, Fred went out, or somebody went out to the department to buy these items. I think they're for the company's copy, right? But there was no approval for that, so we asked that we have approval by the council before Fred goes out on his own and buys something. Okay? All right, thank you, sir. Okay.
And that, do you want me to read the amount, or do you want to read that?
Yeah, I could read that. But the current due is $25, past due, no.
200 and.
The what?
What's the total?
The total. Credit line?
Oh, read it.
Pass that to my treasurer. She's the best at what she does.
All right, it's for Staples, and it's $261.96.
What was that for?
That's for toner cartridge, colored toner cartridge.
Is that for the machine in the office?
That's all I have.
Okay, we have, motion to accept,
I'll make the motion.
with,
Park guy with $5,200 to $700. Finds out those service,
yeah, right, yeah.
$1,400, 25%.
Right. What he did was, and I should have it right here with me, is that, he had additional work. He took down another tree on Water Street that was on the playground property by the creek. And he did a lot, he trimmed all the bushes back, he cut some out. And, sure,
Power wash.
and the power washing of the whole facility.
Power washing in the original bid, huh?
Yeah, it was at a certain amount. It expanded it, so we just, I should have that for you, but.
But when you do something, don't you have to pay them only what you, the bid price? Uh-huh.
Right, yeah. Okay, oh, you do, okay. Thank you. Yep, thank you. So we should have copies for everybody for this, but right now, the addition, okay, it was 5,300 for the work, for the 5 trees, 4 trees, pressure wash. That was 1,200. And then the trimming and the bushes were 500. The additional work was cut, remove large dead ash. That was the one over at Water Street by on the playground area on Waymart Borough property. And then
in there,
Huh?
by the stream.
Yes. Trim and remove trees over sidewalk and power lines, $400. Excavated for stump removal of large bushes, $400. And additional, no, that was $200. An additional pressure washing of all benches in the playground area was all power washed, and that was $400. With the additional work, it was $6,700. If you want a copy of this,
I just wondering where.
yeah, no, you're right on, and it was good to ask. Thank God Shelby had hers, so. The only thing I'm gonna ask is, to be able to go to Cabbages and get some topsoil for the project. And put it where we took the bushes out because there was some rooting in the ground and we're concerned about that. They cut them and it's, but they want to put dirt over that and we can just grass seed that all in. That's pretty much the goal. The stumps that are on the project, I had another call, and,
His name was Kurt.
Putnam?
I don't know if he left his last name on it.
It's Putnam. Kurt Putnam called about the grinding the stumps. There's only 5 stumps on the playground area. They're growing rooting underneath the concrete. So we couldn't get them out. And you couldn't grind them down enough to get them where you wanted them. So Shane and I are going to volunteer our labor to box them with pressure treated 4x4s and stack them up and then put some dirt in them and put some flowers or plants of sort to take up where the stumps went. So that's what's going on. I thought it came up pretty nice. The flag, I'm working with Grim, and they sent over Gary Bates. And we wanted to light up that flag. The lines must have got broken when Gary Bates came down. They checked everything. Why we lost power to certain areas. The roots of the trees probably did it because they were in a plastic line that you feed electrical through. Now they use metal more, I think, than plastic, or maybe I'm wrong there. But anyway, that's what's going on over there. And if we can finish that up by boxing those trunks in, right now it's a safety hazard. So
He donated all the water to clean off all the onions.
oh yeah,
No, not all the water.
no,
No, I use my water to hide my well. Ran it for 6 hours.
We started out with Chris Farrell's water.
That's right.
Because he so kindly said we could, and then his well went dry. Because Dave came back after lunch and said, what am I going to do?
No, it's not at all.
Yes. By morning, so all my tenants.
Say they
take a
probably
shower.
And then we went to Grimm's building, and that's where we went, where you always use the water from. And we used, they allowed us to use, this Mary Ann that works for Grimm, the secretary, awesome. I mean, I called her down a few times, we were in a jam, because when we ran out of water at Chris's, somehow, we needed a place to go to keep the job going, and I called up her, she come down with keys, and so we were able to get through all of it. And it came up pretty nice, they cleaned up pretty good. And we feel without the trees, the sun is going to lighten that up, and the trees are even going to grow back better, the ones that are still up that he trimmed. Those big ones in the middle, he trimmed all the way
I
up,
think it looks very nice.
all the dead stuff and all that. And,
I like that it looks wide open.
yeah,
What about the gazebo? What are we going to do to restore that?
well, that's
It's on
up
the
to,
roof. I poked my finger through it.
I know it does.
yeah.
Jennifer
Works.
Yeah, that could be the third
donated
group.
in memory of her husband, and between CPR and her husband.
It's opened up.
Grimm's just did put a new roof on that not long ago.
It's pretty bad.
The
Yeah.
problem is the moss, that is so
All the
thick on it.
moss.
It was about 3 inches on there. We tried to rake it off, and then it would work about just.
Trees.
Other than that, I
Boy,
mean,
they
the
do a
roof
lot of damage.
is a really damaged part of it all,
Yeah.
so. But, yeah, whatever you want to do there, I mean,
Well,
the money that's in the American Rescue Plan that we have, you have to use that. If you don't use it, right, Jane, it goes back?
well, it might.
It might go back. So that's why we're concerned about buying what we need now
Thing I'm scared
while
of.
we have the money in our hands. So, all right, so.
Yeah, man.
What, you want to wait on the gazebo and think about it? I mean, the project's been ongoing, so the project.
Well, next time we have something.
It's not set.
Construction.
Nope. I
So
think you're.
Gary Bates, get back to Gary Bates, he promised me, they will be back and they will find a way to get that, probably from the main pole, through the grass over to the flag post and set it up that way. Maybe just cut into the concrete and all that stuff. So that's where the project is and most of it, all of it is done right now. That's what we're paying. Okay, so, we need a motion and a second if we're gonna.
I'll make a motion to pay the bill through the day.
Okay. Second. All right. Randy and Craig, first and a second. All in favor? Aye. Nays? Abstention? Good. 6-7-0 and motion's approved. Okay.
And it will be taken out of the measurements tonight.
Oh, you have that now?
Well, she gave me the bill, so I.
Oh, okay, good, okay, excellent. Yeah, okay. All right, we're gonna move on. We got, police report, Fred Glavich.
It's on your.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hi, Fred. Yeah, we got this here. Okay. Thank you, Fred. Yep. Okay.
You're running out of paper.
No, Chippy. What do you mean? Was it approved?
We have a budget, okay, right, take it from our office supplies and our budget. That's all. Okay.
Well, we would like to approve it, and then you can do that, and then you can.
It doesn't need to be approved, is what they asked.
Blinded.
It does need to be approved.
What they're talking about is Staples.
The Staples bill.
Does that need pre-approval before purchase? That's what they're asking.
No, that's what we're telling you. It needs to be approved by council, before you can go and spend that money. That's all. Other than that,
I'll just run the two chips. We're gonna need it ahead of time sometimes.
Yeah.
But those, when the laser disc cartridges go, it stops. If one goes, it stops.
Yeah.
So that's why I only buy like one or two at a time.
okay.
And those are all remanufactured. They're not new.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
All right, well, anyway, that's the way we want it.
All right. Oh, no problem.
And if you have to, give Chip a call.
And we can still get up to $100 purchases yet too, right? Without going through anything. But yeah.
This budget. Yeah, all right. We have.
That's-
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
That's what the question was. Their budget's set aside. But yes,
But Fred runs, he's the administrative chief. So his situation is different because he's administrative.
so he just wants to talk to Mr. Norella.
No, he'll go through the process of going through us, and then we'll okay it, and then you can give it to Fred. That's the way it's gonna be.
I would say, have a budget, if you have a budget, then why would you?
Well, you don't understand a lot of things then, because the way it works here, he told me one night that he's not responsible for him, he's the boss. So I don't know who the boss is sometimes, but you did. Oh, yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did. Yeah, well, you forget that, I realize that, but anyway, let's do it this way, We'll make a motion, and we'll put it out on the floor, and if more people want to give chief, the mayor the authority, then we'll go that way.
I'd like to be heard first.
Okay, go ahead.
I suggest you set a minimum. You don't have to go to. So if I can finish, okay?
You say you got
If I can finish.
You sure can.
I don't know of too many of these cartridges that are under 100. So
Well,
if these guys have to print out documents, they can't wait until the next meeting for you guys to take a vote. So I would suggest that you set a minimum, make sure it's a reasonable amount. I don't know what your biggest office expense is, but if you should have a problem and you need that money, say tomorrow, all right, you shouldn't have to wait a month for them to operate their office.
The biggest one is that printer. Oh. The cartridges are
With $300
laser, so they're around $79 a cartridge.
So what would you say?
with $300,
300, that's what I was thinking, $300.
For that machine, that should cover it. Because I would only, if when it comes up, like say a black one goes, and I know that the tie-in's going, well then I would buy two to cover those two, and that'd be it. Okay, but if anyone stops, it stops printing. It just stops.
Just consider whether it's so much a month or so much a
Why don't you look at your inventory and see what you're getting down, and then put it in a timely manner with us, and you won't run out of paper. What?
Doesn't work that.
How much your printer would be able to print? On those printers, they have gauges. You can actually see.
I know,
right?
yeah, I do, I see it. That's how I buy them. That's all I'm buying, by the gauge. And when the gauge gets low, I purchase it because I know it's gonna die, and then we're not gonna get anything from Com Center, and all, or PSP, or, and all, because it stops. It stops. It's tough with this printer, it's amazing, yeah.
Okay. Well,
It's only $261.
I'm gonna make a motion that the Waymart Police Department have a limited budget, $300 for unapproved purchases.
approved by the mayor.
Approved by the mayor.
And I do run everything through the minute.
Is that 300 per month? 300 per.
Well, let's go 300 a month and then we. Purchase it.
300 a month, good?
And then we go to the council. Yeah.
All set.
it's 300 cover anything at all?
Like you said, his cartridges are the most expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what they
It's
need.
not just strictly.
But if you need it, it's not monthly. You said it's not monthly, right? You don't do 300.
No, we don't do it monthly, no. That was over a 4-month period.
Right.
Per purchase.
What if the printer breaks down tomorrow? What are you gonna do?
Too bad.
We stop.
Do we have an account with somebody where they come in and fix it?
Well, we have two
And then
other
they
printers
bill us?
in the building.
No, it's not wired to any of the printers. It's only wired here.
What's that, chief?
It's only wired here. For anyone comes in from Com Center, it's only here because it's all criminal justice items, so we can't go anywhere else with it. I can't change that. FBI, PSP rules.
We have somebody that services our printers?
Joe, what's the name? That's what's the guy we bought him off?
I do it, I don't know who does theirs. He does ours, I know that. Is it Fred Stanton that does it?
No, not for us. No,
Who does it?
I have Savage through our computers. Now, if we change and we call someone else in to
Brian's,
do printers, I now have to list that company
Yeah,
for
mine
security
too.
awareness training so they can come in the office and do that work. So whoever you want to fix that, let me know, and I have to log them in to do security awareness every 2 years to be able to come in this office, even if we're here. They have to have that, and that would be okay. That's easy to do, but I have to know.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor and a second by Randy. All those in favor? Noes? Abstention? 7-0.
Chief, I have a question. You're talking about Com Center. Did you get notified of the guy that got handcuffed on my front porch at 10:05 in the morning a week and a half ago?
No, you didn't.
Good thing I have a dog.
No, I was, yeah, so,
Okay, thanks, Fred.
Thanks. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Mayor's report?
Yeah, I'm going to direct this question to the solicitor. I'm being held. How can a couple of council people change a bid amount without bringing it back to Borough Council to get it fully approved? Is that legal?
Without having more details and knowing what you're talking about, generally speaking, no. It's approved a certain way. That's the way it should go forward. But he has the authority for the next meeting to change it unless you have it.
We cut down trees then across the road and all that without a figure on, right? You asked for a price and everything, we didn't even get it. So you were here then. What was your opinion then?
I'll take part of the blame because.
Nobody asked me for my opinion now. You just asked me for my opinion now. And my answer is, you can't do it. Yeah, right.
So you have to wait until next month.
Okay.
Like we said, we left it open-ended. We said we had this money from the American Rescue, and we said up to $10,000, remember? But we don't know exactly how much it's gonna cost.
The bid was 53.
So now I'm just coming, I know how much it cost, and I deducted it from the American Rescue.
My question is, I know it's coming from the American Relief Fund, but if something is stated at 5,300, that has to come back, or it should come back to Borough Council, full Borough Council, to approve it to go to 6,700. You're changing the bid.
They crucified me.
Or was it a bid?
It
Yes,
was
there
a
was.
quote. It wasn't quote though.
We didn't
It was a
we
bid and
didn't
it was in
solicit
writing.
bids.
Such a bid.
So,
Well, whether it's a bid or a quote.
What was approved by council? How much was approved by?
5,300.
That's what's approved.
The work was done.
That's what you're stuck with. Don't know if it was done or not.
The work is done.
I don't know all the details. That's fine. Borough Council approved 5,300. All of you by majority approved 5,300. You're stuck at 5,300. If you want to spend more, come back to Borough Council and tell them we need to spend more. That's it.
We have to wait a month, that's all.
That's all. Not a big deal.
Once I make a motion that we award to Mr. Hines of the Outdoor Services under the American Rescue Plan, $6,700.
There you go.
It's already been approved in the bill.
Yeah.
He just said
Yeah,
yes.
because we're on the next time, Dog. Jay, you know as much as I do. You know more than I do. 5,300, 5,300. He should be.
But it is not a bid. Look up what the definition of a bid is on a quote.
But change.
A written dictionary in the journal.
But change.
Minutes state a bid.
To let them know that we had to, and we all, besides, we had the money in the gate, the $10,000 from the, part of the 30,000 from the county commissioners.
And I guess it would be based on the wording of the motion. If the motion said to pay him, whatever it was, under 10,000, that's fine. If the wording of the motion is,
He
we are
presented the
allocated 5,300.
It's a bid in this, and it wasn't a bid at
It
all.
wasn't a bid, it was one quote that I was able to do.
So I wrote bid.
And all the work was done, all the work was within the playground, which was a part of the monies that were coming in through the Biden campaign. And it was used for the playground. So I assumed, and maybe I should assume, that the money was used in the playground, so anything that popped up while we were there, we did. I mean, so. Well, what about the trees? You're shaking your head. What about the trees we never knew anything about? Come on, man.
It's all approved here.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
So
Not the trees.
so the proper wording should be a quote instead of a bid?
It's a quote. Yes.
Difference, yeah.
I think you're missing my point. You can do whatever you want. You could give flexibility if you want to. 10%, 20%, whatever. It's just in the wording of the motion. Okay. If the motion says 5,300, that's it. That's what you're stuck in. Borough Council holds the purse string. No individual, no minority, okay? If Borough Council said 5,300, that's what you're stuck with. If you guys want to make motions and say 5,300 or is any amount under 10,000 within that, that's fine. That's fine. It's just the way that you're doing it. That's all.
So moving
We can go back
forward,
and listen to the
we'll
video.
do that. Otherwise, the motion's passed. We already paid the bills. On to the next.
Can I ask you a question? Were there extras on top of his work? Is that why it was
Yeah.
more than 5,300?
And the tree that's in question was dead. It was a danger of being
It was on Water Street.
on our property. We're on to the next one. I'm
So
ready to-
next time, I
Let's go
would
6
suggest your motion,
No,
you
you
put in
This is
flexibility
my turn to talk.
if there's extra stuff there.
So you wait till I'm done. You get your turn.
You're back up again.
Okay, thank you. Last month, I told you I received a letter from a resident. I told that person I wouldn't read it. I told council I couldn't read it because it was anonymous. I wouldn't read an anonymous letter. And I also stated that if that person comes to me with the letter signed, I'll read it. Well, that person came to me and I have the letter. I'm going to read it to Borough Council. Letter to you, Mr. Norella and Waymart Borough Council. First off, I take no pleasure in writing this letter. It's kind of sad that it even must be done. It also surprises me that no one has brought this matter to the attention of council before now. Of course, when some does try to speak up, they get knocked down and told to be quiet. So here goes. Below are a couple statements regarding public speaking at public meetings. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution. According to the statement above in research, the First Amendment was written to protect freedom of speech, press, religion, assembly, and petition. The First Amendment protects the freedom to peacefully assemble or gather together, associate with a group of people for social, economic, political, or religious purposes. It also protects the right to protest the government. The right to petition can mean signing a petition or even filing a lawsuit against the government. Sunshine law. And the public comment during public meetings. Yes, the Sunshine Act gives the public the right to comment on issues that are or may be before the board. Agencies must provide a reasonable opportunity for residents and or taxpayers to comment on an issue before a decision takes place. Agencies are permitted to establish rules to oversee public comment by, for example, the limiting time for each commenter. This encourages agencies to take care when imposing time limits on public comment. 3 minutes is a common limit and may be more than enough at some public meetings. However, it may not be adequate at certain meetings, such as when a complex draft budget is being discussed. It can be a good practice to allow the flexibility in any policy imposing time limits on public comment, taking care to ensure that the agency does not show partiality to some commenters over others. Agencies are permitted to limit comment to residents and taxpayers of the area served by the agency. Are there penalties for violating the Sunshine Act? Yes. In addition to being assessed attorney fees, any member of an agency who is found to have willfully violated the act that can face criminal charges subject to fines of $100 to $1,000 for first offense and $500 to $2,000 for second offense. Any fine must be paid personally. An agency cannot pay the fine. A court also awarded attorney fees to the prevailing party if the court determines that either one, an agency willfully or with random disregard violated the Sunshine Act, or two, the legal challenge was of a frivolous nature or was brought with no substantial justification. Other members in the community and I find very disheartening and embarrassing that we have elected officials that were elected to represent us in our little borough bashing and bad-mouthing our local police. Donald McDonough, as president of council, you are a very poor representation of this little town. You appear to only be focused on the field. We always hear about the field. Our town does not need a field that has appeared to become the size of Montage. And mark my words, it'll eventually be an expense to the taxpayers. You sit in restaurants and repeatedly bash our police, telling others how they travel to Lehigh at our expense. Well, sir, I call bullshit. I have personally called Lehigh County, Lehigh Township, and guess what? Our Waymart Borough Police has not been any of them. Below, you'll find the number so you can call yourself. You are doing nothing but making a fool of yourself, just like you did when you served on not one but 2 school boards, which you received a standing ovation for leaving. They couldn't get rid of you fast enough. You've made motions to disperse thousands of dollars for a field, but you voted to have the borough police pay for a safety device out of their budget, which was a measly $654. Shame on you. Of course, it's an understanding that you have a personal issue with the chief. Maybe you should keep it personal. More community members appreciate him and the other borough officers than don't. You think that it's perfectly okay to have the borough vehicle and maintenance workers maintain your private road in the winter. It is not, okay? It is illegal to use taxpayers' money to do this. Your private road has not been dedicated to the town. Therefore, it is not a borough street. This includes any private roads in the borough. You can be held liable for anything that happens on these private drives and fined if turned in. There are community members willing to do this. My letter is addressed and ready to send as this letter is being read. There are videos of you stating it will be done, and that is okay. Have you watched any of the live feeds to see what a fool you're making of yourself? I'm not sure who you think you are, but your attitude and level of respect is disgraceful. You fail to forget that you work for the community and taxpayers, not us. Go back and read your First Amendment. The amendment says that we have freedom of speech. Quite frankly, you're a bully. And last but not least, you have officially gotten rid of most of the women on council. Those sexist. Hopefully they band together and file discrimination suit against you. Yes, I heard that too. Next, Jane Barkle. I would hate to think your only goal at this point was to get to 50 years. It is disappointing to that you as well sit in local restaurants and badmouth our local police. You, as a former officer, should be ashamed of yourself. As one of my former teachers, I looked up to you and respected you my entire life. I'm sadly disappointed in you. As elected officials, you are to represent your town and community members. The two who appear to have an agenda all on their own do not care what their community thinks or feels. Maybe it's time for you to step down, let community members that care about the community take your places. People are opening their eyes, and both of them have become quite disappointment. You both have become quite a disappointment. Hopefully nothing passes that is going to cost our small community of taxpayers a lot of money. Thankfully, we have council members that hopefully have minds of their own and think about their community. And for those, we're truly thankful. Thank you, Darren Howell, Don Miller, Randy Thorpe, Ray Spiewak, and Shane Bailey. Mr. Mayor, you're doing an amazing job. I truly hope you remain mayor for years to come. To you and your department, kudos on a job well done. To our borough police, thank you for all your hard work you do to keep our little town safe. It truly does not go unnoticed. Phone numbers down here for Lehigh County, Lehigh Township. Sincerely, Teresa Stratton.
You have a right to respond to this. You have a right to respond.
I'm not gonna add anything.
Is that it, Mr. Mayor?
I have something to say.
No, there's no.
Excuse me,
When I
if
voted up
I
the-
can't speak, then you are against the sunshine law. I am going to
We
speak.
have a time frame when we speak.
You can speak, but just not now.
Okay.
It's, you know, it's always.
Thank you, solicitor.
Yes, citizen speak comes after correspondence by recording.
Mhm.
Everybody will be allowed to speak.
Yes, everybody will. Okay, then we're looking at zoning officers report, and I didn't receive one. I did request one. So I'll give them a call tomorrow.
I did meet with Mr. Knight
Okay.
concerning his fence and his shed, and he claimed that he got a call saying that the notice of NCIC that they only handle utilities, and that they do not handle buildings, so, or I mean, outside buildings or fences. And, but I understand that somebody's talked to him since then and he's changed his.
Yeah, I want to say that he did do decks and fences. And, yeah, yeah,
Well,
he did say that.
then my question is, what about the people in Waymart right now, for example, our newest attorney without applying for any permits and signs up?
Throw him out of town. I did give him the paperwork. He requested it months ago. And before we had hired NEIC, he asked for the paperwork. So I did give it to Zed Terms. But apparently he never got it. Because it was actually it was just
Did you see the
NEIC.
sign or something?
Yeah.
That requires a permit also. And I would like to know from the solicitor and others.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was pretty quick. Though.
So on that note, I think, because I received phone calls, the borough has received several phone calls in the month about zoning, and I have forwarded them on to him,
Yes.
and he's either taking care of them or not, but I think to Shane's point, clarification of what his role actually is.
Right.
Provide zoning special.
And are we moving forward? Are we moving forward the lawsuit against Mr. Roots? We have this, and, you know, we each got a copy of it, we all have it.
Debbie started that before she left. So these guys were told by her, from what I remember her saying, that they would pick up on that situation on Maple Street. So we should bring them back in here and sit down with them.
You know, we shouldn't file papers and we just drop it.
Right, exactly. I agree with that.
Somebody want to be designated as the I'll do it between council and.
Here's the
Here
letter.
is the letter, yeah. Do you have that letter there too, or the violation?
We all got the letter.
You guys want to vote to authorize an individual member of council, so you don't have to bring everything back for a vote? Liaison,
Then are you talking about the under old business, the lawsuit? That's what you're referring to, right?
Yes, enforcement notice of violation was sent. How? What, I'm just asking, have we followed it up or was this dropped too?
I guess we'll have to get a lot of NEC. Make the vote.
And the chapter 27, she cites in there, have you driven out to Maple Street? I invite everybody here to drive to the end of Maple Street and see what Mr. Boots' house and see Mr. Farley's house or building, whatever it is.
So I'll contact the NEC.
Are you gonna do it? I
Sure.
thought maybe Darren would want to be able to do that. So,
somebody needs to make a motion to authorize Howard him to make the decision.
do you want to do it then? Okay.
Well, sure, it's supposed to let me know Saturday.
Yep,
I make a motion that we appoint Shane Bailey to be the liaison between the voting and the council
Authorize him
and authorize him to
to make decisions regarding going after.
make decisions.
Did NEIC get this letter?
What?
Did NEIC get that letter?
Yeah. Debbie gave it to everybody. She was in here all, but all.
No, no, I have it, but does NEIC have it?
Well, she turned over everything to them.
Oh,
she
okay.
said she did.
Where we go.
So to be a liaison between who?
NEIC.
NEIC and council?
Did you give it to them when they were here? I probably did.
We need a second?
Second. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, there was a second.
So we just need a second. Oh,
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I suppose I should say.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay, one abstention and 5 yes votes. Right? Motion is approved.
Did Debbie pass this letter by? I
It
know.
was a while ago.
My wife's birthday, you remember back in May?
We brought it up 3 times.
Just gonna be
Do you have another copy of that?
for here.
No, I don't. After the meeting.
Yeah, I have a copy.
I tried.
Oh, pardon me, I'm sorry. Did you find your glasses?
Okay, let's get started then again. Let's see, we're at Solicitor's Report, Correspondence Review. Any?
Solicitor's report, yeah. I think Teresa's letter, the sticking out loud of this, I didn't know that was going to be mentioned, but after last month's meeting, I just want to give everybody on both sides of the table here just a little refresher course, okay? This is government, small town government. Everybody's speech is protected by the First Amendment to the Constitution, especially speech against government. Okay? So if somebody wants to come here and criticize government, you're entitled to do it. You're certainly entitled to respond to the criticism during borough council. Okay? Ironically, just a week or two ago, there was an article in the Scranton Times. Somebody got up with a racist diatribe on Scranton City Council. They didn't stop it. They went to Borough Council for an opinion, or I'm sorry, I think it was the Boroughs Association for an opinion on whether the newspaper did. Would they have done anything to stop them? Basically, the answer was no. Okay. You have the right to get up and say things that offend people. You have the right to get up and say things that anger people. You know, when you say you protect free speech, it's not somebody's speech to say the park looks great with the trees cut down. That's really not the speech we're looking for. It's the speech that you don't like. That's the speech that's protected under the Constitution. It's the criticisms that you don't like. That's the speech that's protected. In that news article from the Scranton Times, it cited a borough in Pennsylvania where somebody got up and spoke in borough council, and it was videoed by borough council, and they didn't like some of the things that were said. So they edited out this one person's negative speech criticism. And then they put that video on as this is what happened in borough council. It ended up with a $300,000 judgment against that borough. It's not the money that's going to get paid to the person whose speech has been abridged. It's going to be the lawyers that come in, the civil rights lawyers that come in and file a federal civil rights lawsuit. And that's where it'll be. It'll be down in Holmesdale. It'll be in Scranton in the federal courts. And that federal right that's being abridged is your right to free speech. So it's going to be $300,000 attorney's fees that we're going to get started. If somebody wants to get up here and criticize anybody individually or as a whole, you got to take it. You have a right to respond. Basically, the only thing you can regulate is the timing of somebody, but it's got to be consistent for everybody. So, like I said, the time limit is 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. That's up to you as long as it's reasonable.
It's
That's about all that you can do. Okay. That's saying this to help everybody. You know, we're a real small community. Sometimes we treat each other like we're not a formal government, and that's nice because we are a small community. You still have to follow the formalities of the law, especially the Constitution. The Constitution is not designed, the Bill of Rights, all right, the amendments to the Constitution, that's not designed to protect the government. It's designed to protect individuals and their rights. The right to assembly, the right to go to church where you want, the right to free speech. Okay? So I just caution everybody, it's not back to being a nice, friendly little community. Tension levels can rise in the air. Hopefully we get back to the way it is. Everybody's got a right to say what they want to say. Okay? You guys have a right to respond also.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Correspondence review, anything?
I have a couple of things here. This is addressed to the Honorable Mayor Norella. Please be advised, it's from FIA, Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency. Please be advised that the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency has received an application for the above affordable housing development. Address Laurel Place, 264 South Street. We understand you are the Chief Executive Officer of the jurisdiction in which this project is located. As a requirement of the funding program, we are providing you, as the Chief Executive Officer, an opportunity to submit comments, if any, regarding the development. Please provide any written comments to my attention. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Linda A. Stewart, Manager of Tax Credit Program Allocation.
What was that for? Laurel?
Laurel Place, South Street. I don't know if that's the name that needs to be.
We received quite a lot of paperwork on that to make sure the zone and everything was correct. So it is correct so far.
Well, you're adding on to the Laurel Place?
Yes.
Oh, maybe I can move there.
Received a phone call from Peter Becker, the Wayne Independent, asking about Halloween activities.
We'll discuss that in the, yeah, I have that.
Okay. And we received a phone call from Bob Phillips about Halloween, his food truck. He's offering his food truck for free hot dogs for the Halloween festivities.
He's giving away free hot dogs? It's down in the.
Well, his message was is that he would do free hot dogs. That was his message.
We do the hot dogs. Yeah, I call.
Okay, but you have his number.
Are you helping out?
He's offering to bring his food truck down. So those were, and we talked about that. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Guests and citizens up next.
You want to go first?
Eugene, you're up first.
Just want to say how disappointed I was with the way you violated my right to speak at the last meeting and rant and raved about this being your meeting. This is Waymart's meeting. This is our meeting. That was wrong. And you sitting up there snickering when he's reading that letter.
Yeah.
You don't belong in that seat. You were wrongly put in that seat. You need to be removed.
All right, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Okay, Michelle Triquani.
Okay. I'm not on council anymore. I still have a lot to say. EMC meeting. I'm still the local EMC. The next meeting is November 16th. You will be getting a letter out if anybody wants to go. As for the letter, you can go to the meetings as usual. I will attend, and probably Jane will be attending with me. It'll be the Thanksgiving meeting because they have it in November instead of December. The date that I got from Pete would be tentatively November 16th. It's the Wednesday prior to Thanksgiving.
And you said, what is it?
EMC, Emergency Medical, sorry, Emergency Management. Now that I have lots more time on my hands, I'm back to NIMS again. I will be at the next meeting letting you know whose certificates I have, whose I don't have, and what I do need from everybody. I know there are some that I did have, and Chippy, I don't think I ever got yours printed, and that computer is gone. So I might need you to help me contact them, because they have them on file. It's just a matter of getting in touch with them to get a copy of the NIMS. NIMS is required, NIMS. NIMS is defines elected and appointed officials as included administrative and political personnel, departments, or agency administrators who have leadership roles in jurisdictions. Elected officials, mayors, governors, sheriffs, councilmen, executives, and appointed officials within the jurisdiction of a county or borough. So if you are an elected official, you need to do NIMS 1, 2, 7, and 8. I will try to get Heather the link if anybody has any questions. I know they changed the links, and I was trying to get them from Pete. Pete and I have to get together.
And how often is that to be done?
One certificate, once it's done.
Once you do it.
Once you do
I
it.
had all my sevens.
Okay.
5 years ago.
I know I have my 1, 2, 7, and 8 done. The fire company, I will be attending their meetings. I have to have it from all their officers on file. What happens is if there is a disaster in Waymart and you need funds from FEMA or PEMA, unless you have a certain number of people certified and have those NIMS, you're not getting any money, no help, no nothing. So if you don't do it, you're only hurting yourself and you're hurting the borough. Okay, so I'll be back on my NIMS kick again. Okay. WAP. I was just going to ask, and you guys answer my question, were all the trees done in the bark being cut so I can start decorating for Halloween?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
They are.
The stumps that are there, if they're not going to be ground down before Halloween, can we get cones put on top of them so they're not a safety issue so people don't trip in the park? WAP is doing the free hot dogs in the park. And PTA has already been notified, and we've been putting it out on Facebook for baked good donations. Anybody who wants to donate and bring baked goods or free goodies to give out to the kids on the table, more than welcome to do that. Salvation Army will be doing hot chocolate and hot coffee. We'll be contacting the food truck if they want to bring something else other than hot dogs. We'd be more than happy to have them come. The DJ will be here, and he has his lovely little light show and everything else that the DJ does. We're still doing the costume contest, trying to pull together. I'm going to put it out. I have a few people that have expressed interest in a trunk or treat. They live outside of town, or people within the borough that don't get a lot of trick-or-treaters, that we can put them in the park. Or my question to borough, if it becomes really busy, can we block off the South Street side, just the park side? So through traffic can go Water Street, Center Street, all around, and just block that off. Usually the fire company has their big truck there anyway on South Street in front of Chris's office. They usually sit with the big lights so they can light up the intersection for Belmont and
South Street. So if that would be okay, I'm asking permission that we could block that part of South Street up. Yes. Historical
The
Society.
Historical Society will have a haunted museum again, with
Awesome.
all kinds of treats, and the car will be out here for anybody who wants to take pictures and stuff.
Awesome. It starts at 5, from 5 to 8.
What was the date?
Halloween.
Okay.
Always on Halloween.
What's that Christmas?
31st. No, not Christmas.
It's right Valentine's Day.
31st. It is a Monday.
Yeah. it's on-
And I think that is all I have for that. And Craig, for you, I have accidentally deleted my file. I'm trying to find them. However, all the information I had for the park was the stuff Jane sent through emails, stuff that's in the minutes or from Mr. Wood himself. So they should be able to send that stuff to you. The stuff for the ballpark was always done through Joe and Jane. And I never had any file that was just reported on here at the council meetings. Ordinances, I don't know who's taking care of those. I'm sorry, I haven't been here in a couple weeks. Okay, and, okay, I just promised Shepstone. Yep, okay, let you do that. The website, the lovely website. There's nothing on the calendar right now because there was actually no conflicts between baseball, soccer, men's softball league. We were supposed to meet and then I resigned. But there was nothing that we had to put on the schedule for, so there wasn't a conflict. So that's why you find nothing under the ball fields currently right now. As far as the park is a public place. We never denied people access to the park. We put their stuff on there. So if they, somebody wanted to have a birthday party in the park and there was already somebody scheduled on the park for a birthday party, they would know. So that's there. I can show you how to do it, or if you want me to continue to put stuff on there, just let me know. It's not hard. I did it. As far as your minutes and your agenda, they haven't been out on the website. Your minutes have not been posted to the website since February. If you get me copies of them sent to me, I can download them so you're current. And I'm more than willing to put them out on the website on the community page if you get me the information prior to when it needs to be posted for you. I can do that for you. I can help you with your website, but that's up to you on what you guys want me to do. And I think that's all I have, and I know I'm over my 2 minutes.
Do you have a card that, your email, or is it probably already in the system?
No, yeah, I'll give it to you.
Okay.
I think it's
It's on an old paper.
It's on that wall.
The positions have been updated in the computer. Thank you, I did that. With the people's current names. Craig, I don't have a phone number listed for you in there. I just have the borough council office. Okay. That's fine. I just have the council, the office here listed for you, unless you want something different listed on there. I got the information for the zoning company from Donnie, and we updated that to any IC or any whatever it is, and their phone number is in there. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Can I say one thing to Heather? Waymart area parties in the park, Heather, is separate from the borough. So if there's any calls for the park,
Yes.
I'm the president.
To you?
Forward them to me.
Okay, because I did have one about the park.
Yeah,
And
that's
you
fine.
haven't already addressed it
Yeah,
on
the park,
Facebook,
yeah,
so-
we don't really tell people, no, they can't use the park. It's a community park. You know, anybody can use a community park. If you're going to hold an event in the park, then that's different. They need to come to council and they need to get permission to hold a big event in the park. And then you would need a certificate of liability because we requested that from everybody else. And I did have certificates of liability from the Little League and all that stuff. So just so you know, they were all legal.
That was a good year you did that. And
Yeah.
you got everybody up to being certified with insurance so that there was no coming back to the borough.
Yep. So,
As far as Wind Independent, I left a message that it was 5 to 8 in the park on Halloween. So do you want to call and add all that other stuff?
we can contact,
I already contacted Peter.
Peter.
I emailed him this afternoon.
that's fine. Or you can just give Peter Lily's
just
phone
wanted
number,
her.
his information, yeah.
You should know
And
that.
I emphasized in there it's 8 o'clock because it's a school night.
Oh, they don't care. They'll still be out. They'll still be out 8:30, 9 o'clock. They're usually done. The little kids are usually done by 8 o'clock. It's the older kids that trickle through, but between 8 and 8:30.
Okay, one more. Teresa, if you want to.
Yeah, back to the snow plowing. It needs to stop.
Well, we have an agreement, so. we'll
No,
see.
it needs to stop. It is illegal. I'm speaking.
Right ahead.
I have the envelope in my car to be sent to the Ethics Commission. I am going to get it notarized and sent. You will be fined because you are going against ethics. You cannot use any part of taxpayers' money to plow your private drive. Period. End of story.
We're taxpayers.
It doesn't matter. You are using funds from the borough. You are using borough property to plow your driveway. It is illegal.
Can I ask a question? Are we talking about Silvercrest?
Yes. And any other private drive. That includes Robbins Lane. Any other private drive in this borough cannot be done with borough property. It is against the law.
Do you have an opinion or anything for a case from another borough? I thought we looked at this.
I actually have an email, if you remember, from Lisa Baker. I went through the senator. It is illegal. It doesn't matter what fund it comes from. Doesn't matter if it's liquid fuels, the general fund, whatever. It's an illegal activity and you will be fined. I have them at home.
Where court has found.
Nope, but I will get some.
You would.
Yep.
Please let me look at it.
So this
So I look at it, look like you could.
road we do by
No.
project, that's technically not borough, right? The project road, not borough.
I don't believe so.
I don't know what the agreement was on that.
There is no agreement. If there's no agreement with anybody else, there's no agreement for what.
The projects, right?
Right. No, let me speak on that. Because I've been on that for a long time. The
That's
borough,
another entity.
every year, there's an agreement signed by them and us. They give us $10,000 a year to plow it in the winter. That's all I ask. Plow it and send it. That's it. That's the only thing we do. We don't do anything in the summer, fall, whatever.
I guess we'd have to look into it. I mean,
But they're quite, they're quite
It's not a very legitimate shame. We've been doing it for probably 20 years.
Not only that,
the
but
same,
they're a public
Teresa's
entity.
bringing up.
And it's a public entity. It's not private.
it's a quasi municipality when you deal with things like the housing authority. So they, it is a special category underneath that you can do that with them. You can reach an agreement with any of the different.
I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong, I'm just saying probably
Well, I'm
should
just
look
telling you
into
what
it.
it says.
Maybe. Might be a good idea. And we also have an agreement with the local.
Mayor has
council.
dealt with it every year and has done a fantastic job with
I'm
it.
not saying nobody's doing a bad job, I'm just saying, if we can't do it in one area, we should probably look to see if we can do it in another.
But it's, you have to consider that it's considered under the law as a municipality.
I'm not saying, I'm saying, no, I'm just saying we should look into it. Thank you.
All right.
And also with the level of disrespect that you have not only shown our local police, but your council members. As far as I'm concerned, you should resign. And I'm sure there's other people in this building that would say the same thing that I just said. You should resign because you are a bully and you have no respect for anyone. Just because you sit there and you have the title of president doesn't give you any higher authority than anybody else behind that table. I'm not finished. You are president and you preside over a meeting.
There's a lot of people happy in this town about who's here right now, so I'll end it at that.
If I could, okay, people put everybody here in their seat. Only people can take their seat for election. Okay? There's a majority of borough council that made down the president. That's why I'm the president. So, that's the way it is. It's called democracy. That's why he's up there. Everybody else is.
I have a question on something else relating to the ordinances.
Yeah, right.
And I've brought this up 4 or 5 times already. Nothing has ever been done. We have our property line. We have our trees on our side. The neighbor puts the fence up. It's chicken wire with posts. He had gone up to Mr. Miller's and got worse than this is a couple years back now, and put it on his side of the fence. Now, the ordinance, I believe, was 6 inches off of the ground, the grass had to be. Is that true?
I don't know that.
Well, anyway, we got them forming into trees. And the fence is buckled over on our side. I don't want any confrontation with them because we went through that already. But when I go down the mow, all I'm gonna say is if it's caught on my tractor, it's gonna keep going because I'm not, and if I get cut on it, that'll be another. So I just want to know if something could be done or if somebody could look at it, so something can be done to get it out of there.
Yeah, Chris, and I remember you brought this up a few years ago.
Right.
And I think another neighbor, or your neighbors came in, they were complaining about somebody, I don't know who. It's a neighbor dispute between two neighbors. It's not for borough council. Somebody, if your neighbor is bothering you, you could sue them.
No, it's a bit quiet.
If they're trespassing by having a fence over, you can sue them. But it's really not borough business. Now, if they're in violation of one of our ordinances, then it is our business. But I can assure you, where the fence is put is not the borough.
Well, I'm more concerned with the weeds than I am, because there is an ordinance for that. And I don't want any hard feelings with them, because we went to court once, they took us to court. Because my husband was weed whacking our trees on our property. 2 days later, he got a criminal trespassing citation in the mail. Okay, on our property. His wife stood up right there in front of the judge. This is this one versus that one. She said no, and she pointed to me. No, it's his significant other. I wasn't even outside. So I don't know how it involved me. With that, she got up crying and walked out of the courtroom. So I don't want any feuding. It's been quiet. I don't want any feuding. And now they've got ducks in their backyard. And my husband thinks that he has seen a rat coming from, must be the feed or whatever he's feeding them. I don't know. But I just want something done with the weeds because they look terrible. At least if he could fix the fence. And I've approached him last year, or this spring it was, I think. I asked him if he would fix it.
Anything that comes over your property line, you cut it. It's a fence.
Yeah, but then I'll be back in court again.
Just ask them once nice, and let them know. They go to my property line. Cut down.
You take a picture before you do it.
Oh, yeah.
Just imagine a giant piece of glass right down the property line. And it goes over your property. Give them a chance to remove it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I said, I did ask a couple of times and nothing's been done.
Going from heaven to hell is on a piece of real estate. Everything above it, everything below it, unless you live somewhere like that.
Well, the fence is going like, it's going like this now. Instead of straight, it's going like a snake. And it's all coming over on us.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I'd just like to follow up with winter season approaching quickly, right? We need to direct Mr. Brown as what the plus. So any non-borough roads that we're going to direct him to do from now until we find out.
Is it write it down? Yes.
Okay. Oh, I understand. Let him know. Give him a list of borough roads.
And it's an intergovernmental that agreement
With Clinton.
with Canaan.
Yeah.
That is a legal whatever they call it. Jane, what's the name of that agreement?
Yeah.
Intergovernmental agreement with Canaan Township. Leroy plows for them,
Mutual aid,
right,
so.
it's legal and binding to the.
Right, yeah, I know. That would just need to let him know what to do.
Yes.
and what not to do.
Yes.
Yeah, you tell them.
Okay, Shane, you good?
Don, getting back to the grass.
Yeah.
So will somebody look at that and at least look at, that is an ordinance. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. Let me make sure we have the ordinance here to support it. And then we got to get straightened out with our new zoning people and to see what they cover and what they don't. The grass, I remember grass being a problem.
I think it's
in the
6, I
neighborhood.
think it's 6 inches, I think.
Yeah, if it's there, we'll give it to the zoning people. If they don't take care of it, I'll come over and look at it for you.
Just make sure that you're fine to everybody in the borough, not just one
Yeah,
person.
well, that's a good point too. And I don't know if I can come over because we were told with zoning, council people can't get involved. It's just the law. So let us look and see, get the ordinance and contact our zoning people and then we'll go. Okay?
Yeah, because I'm afraid if I cut what's on our side, God forbid it falls on the other side, then I'll be in more trouble.
Exactly. Okay, I'll get back to you. Okay?
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're gonna move on. Budget and finances, myself and, oh, we forgot to meet you guys. Okay. Okay, you guys. Next one. Who's presenting, sir?
All right, we sent out through email to Jay, to the council members to look at for
Got that.
Yes,
the gas.
I forwarded to each one of them.
And we have more than enough.
Do you know if they need a deposit to start the gas line to the building? Or do they have to be paid in full? How does that work?
UTI,
Yeah.
they require to be paid 2746 for the get gas.
But do you have to pay that up front to get them in? The schedule?
We can go pay one-time lump sum or pay $20.03 a month plus a certain amount for each,
Okay.
for 10 years.
Okay, that's what that was. That's the connection there. Okay.
I talked to the representative of UGI, he said that usually works out to be cheaper to pay that lump sum at the beginning.
Okay.
Rather than,
So I didn't know if you had to pay up front to get it instead.
So did you want to give copies to everybody, or did you want to read that first?
No.
I don't have.
I have it, George.
I don't have.
it's not-
Don't bring it up here.
you know,
George, the other George said that he had copies of them, so I didn't make more copies. George and George back there.
Thank you.
Just read this list.
Johnny.
Yeah, sure.
I told you last month that, where are they located? It's Armstrong.
Yeah, they're in right.
It's
right
like
down
Armstrong.
in Canaan Township. Well,
We're
there's
Belmont
Mother's
Street. Belmont Street. All the boys and Liz Crump. Wow, what a difference. And he has been at our, he did a fabulous job.
I'm gonna make a motion here for 5,600 for Michael Armstrong Mechanical.
What about the?
I think we need to have somebody examine though to make sure that the proposals are all the same.
Okay, we'll do that.
I mean, well, that's what we do, right? Same for the.
Yeah, do you guys have a recommendation? I mean, would you go with low bidder? You guys have an opportunity to?
Sure, those were donated.
Michael's a local boy.
Rather than us go through the line.
we were rooting for Armstrong County.
Okay.
The one that came in low
My
bid,
goodness.
and I questioned him because if you look at it, it's fairly low. He's donating all his labor, a large part of his,
Wow.
supply.
Okay.
And he will also be having, he'll,
He's very good. He really is very good.
Yeah, yep, I see that now. Okay.
Okay, so I made a motion, we need a second.
Well, we have to include the hookup
Oh, the hookup.
in that motion.
Okay, we're gonna throw the 20, what is it, 22? With this?
The hookup fee at the bottom there?
One
Okay,
second.
yeah, you can see it, yeah.
So you have to add that to the 5,600.
Okay, that's what we want to do, then, right? Yeah, everybody's good on that? Okay.
Now, did you guys check on permits or anything?
well, that's one of the questions I have, that we need permits.
Oh, I'm sure, yes. I'll check with the EIC. Like this.
My motion is for Armstrong Mechanical at 5,600, and I'm gonna add on that, the other known cost was 2,746.64, one time for gas to be included.
Well, we should put a disclaimer for permits or no?
Permits with the need.
What's that?
What permits would we need?
Sure that there's an inspection fee.
Just an inspection fee, yeah, is that, because you're replacing a unit that was already there.
You have an idea what that's running? Okay, also to include my motion to include the inspection fee. Craig's got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those?
About, the permits, you guys do it, or?
I'll check with them. We got to call on EIC for a few things. I'll check, get back to you. All right.
And any abstentions? Okay, motion,
Can we give Michelle the authorities to issue the check when it comes time and it needs to be paid? Because we don't know.
Deposit, sure.
we'll make a motion for Ms. Spolgowski to, make payment to the Legion Hall, American Legion Hall, yeah, when you have it, when it comes in. That's not in yet either, Jane, right? That'll all come together?
Yes, it'll be taken directly out of American Rescue.
Okay, we have a
To make
motion.
payment to Shelley. Shelley's going to make payment to who? Armstrong.
So that, he's gonna make a payment
Yeah,
to American Legion when they present their bill.
So American Legion is paying it and we're reimbursing American Legion?
Yes.
Okay. What do you want?
Because see, they're gonna have to write two checks. Guess I'll have to write a check. To Armstrong and a check.
Why is that? Why do you have to make that a double?
Because that's what borough would have to pay for it,
bring it to,
rather than them pay for it and then you reimburse them.
Oh, okay. Whatever you think, Michelle. Okay. I'll change, I'll withdraw that than what I said before
okay,
and let Michelle handle it, okay?
okay.
The only piece of information I'd like to add on the get gas
Yeah.
fee, the 27. From what I was told by the UTI representative is if we want to pay that one-time fee, it has to be done with credit card when we sign the paperwork.
Oh, okay, they want
They want their money.
Who wants that, IGI?
UGI,
So they want the 2,700.
Credit card, you give them a check right then.
No,
Do you have a number? Do you have a contact number?
No,
I gave them a certified check. So I
You
have a
get
copy.
a certified check, go back and get everybody. For the 2,700, whatever it is.
anything else, you guys? That's good? Okay, all right. Okay, motion passes, and yeah, we'll move on.
Question.
They're done. They're not putting any more up.
You still have to run off of
They're not putting any more up because PPNL charges
Yeah.
them by the pole. There's no more poles. That's why it's not.
Streets and roads.
And there's nobody else to do them. There's nobody, there's nobody to bargain with. So PPNL,
Oh, what's your fine?
they charge.
Yeah, I know, I passed on mine, I don't have.
Did we up the new business, which is under budget and finance, meeting to formulate the budget?
Right.
Did we set a date for that?
Yeah, we can do that, yeah, we need to do that, actually, so. will go in November, right? We talked about middle of November or something, or end of November. Okay, end of October.
We usually meet on a Tuesday. Can you just read the document?
Shelley and I are going to work on the budget. Okay. Shelley and I are going to work on the budget before we bring it into the body.
So what?
And then we can make changes there. If you know, like,
Every employee should be approached and talk to them what they feel that their salary should be.
So October, the last week of October,
I don't know.
that Tuesday is the 25th.
Chip is shaking his head. no.
November 1st is a Tuesday as well.
Or whatever you think, November 1st, whatever time they do it, is that okay?
yeah, that's okay with me.
It has to be advertised. Yes, I'll pay advertise workshop.
We're looking at November 1st
Right.
at,
And then we vote on it at that November meeting, and then it's advertised for another 30 days.
If we, only if we agreed to it.
Oh, right.
yeah, because then it stays in for that.
We might have to find out more information about people, what they want and stuff. I don't know.
Well, we'll do that. We'll talk and we'll talk with the different groups and let them know where we are.
Is there a time for that?
Yeah. 6:30, good again? 6:30.
Question on the budget meeting.
Yeah.
Said you and Shelley were gonna work on it. Yeah, alone. I don't think that's right. I think you have to have overall council.
I said here my first year, and you had a sheet, it was all done, and then we reviewed it, and if there was any change that needed to be made, then everybody was in.
No.
We did it together.
Started
Well,
whatever.
I was at the meeting when I wasn't on council, but that was my first meeting.
We always do the.
No, we can stay the same. I don't have a problem with it.
November 1, 6:30, yeah, but, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Advertise, right?
Right.
RJ?
Yes. Positively, have that.
We're good then, Shelley?
Okay.
Okay. Shane, you're up.
Yeah, so I met with PennDOT, did the walkthrough quick, they gave me the project completion report. Shelley has the total amount of $95,591.04. I went through all the slips, added them up, there was one slip missing. I have the missing slip in my email, so I'll just include the packets. If you want to. Okay.
Now, is that 21, was that 21 or 22?
22.
It's 22, okay.
Yeah. So for 2021, he had mentioned he never got the project completion report, or he never went over the project report, so he didn't have that. So he didn't have it, we don't have it.
Just gonna say we don't.
Yeah, so we'll have to have him do that for us, I guess.
They should.
I'm assuming, yeah.
That's what he does.
We have all the slips from last year.
We'll look at see what we got. Okay, anything else? Or?
Yeah, so for the two Waymart signs, welcoming signs, there's no lighting. Jane brought that up many times. So I printed out some solar powered lights. Just some budgetary costs from the Home Depot. Anybody wants to look at them? They range from $60 to $120.
And that would line up on wayside?
Yeah.
Park?
Just the batteries?
Possible. It's just, a lot of them are just sealed units. You can't replace batteries anyway.
Well, that's, you said before that was $60, and $60 is, been under something last time on here.
So, yeah, it's got a little solar panel, a few LED lights that stick in the ground, point towards the signs.
Yeah, Mr. Whitboy, remember, put it on.
Do we have any more rules or anything?
Yeah, they can, if you could hang them on the sign.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. If we could use it, then,
Yeah. I'll tell you when I get there.
okay. She'll let you know on that, that sign. And as long as we can get money out of the American Rescue to use to light that sign up again.
For both signs, I think. There's one.
I wanted to park, some people,
One of them.
it'd be nice at Wayside Park.
Yeah, I just meant the 206. Well, I mean, I guess we could do one as well.
So then we'll wait for Jane to
Okay.
keep on top of things with the finances. All right. Okay, we're going with Bryce Beaver, Park and Recreation.
Security cameras.
Oh, yeah, I had heard about something at the concession stand. So I just printed out some trail cameras, just.
The concession stand at the ballpark was broken into twice with it last week sometime, I believe it was, somewhere in that area. And the people were upset, they took candy out of there and everything else. And then the second one was they knocked over the one job Johnny, and then they printed a foul word in the grass. And one of the ladies came over while we were doing the cleanup in the town and asked about it. And we told her to get a can of spray paint, don't let graffiti grow, you get rid of it as soon as it's there. So they sprayed the grass out with some green paint, and they stood up the job Johnny the next day, so it didn't get seen. So, but anyway, we had some problems down at the ball field. Some minor problems, but problems. Anything else, Andy?
That's it.
Okay. Grace Beaver. Recreation. Yeah.
Think about the camera. I don't know, it's part of the camera.
Where's that?
At the ball field.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, you know what? While you're talking, cameras here are in the basement of the property house in the park area. So they're sort of not in an area where they're convenient. And then these other cameras, the one at the garage, I don't know how good that camera works or not. And we'd like to have them working. And around here, anywhere where we have property, we should have a camera that works. So if the police have a problem, they can go and look at the camera and hopefully get an idea of who's doing it. So yeah.
I talked to somebody last night about it, and she said that they have no access to it. So if they have no access to it, why do we have it?
We contacted the security, I just off the top of my head, that J&J Security, I've seen them around. Or we just have someone come in, we can tell them what we're looking at.
We could do that. We could do that.
Get a price from them.
See what they got.
On the right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the one.
It's closed circuit, it's
I was gonna ask you if there was a bill on that. Paying for the cameras? That work?
I don't know if they don't work. It just.
Well, she says they're not paying us all. She can't tell whether they're working or not.
Couldn't you get Ring and have someone download the app on their phone, like one of the officers or the mayor? It's $10 a month. Yep. Or just get a dummy phone
Why don't we bring
and
somebody in?
leave it here.
Why don't we bring somebody in and get an idea of what we need and what it costs and vice versa? Will you? Okay, yeah.
Because I think 2 cameras was $300.
Cameras.
Yeah, you can buy them at Home Depot. Oh, you would, oh, yeah.
Not a phone system, but I guess it's, I don't know what it is.
The cameras were first in the park, but when you cut down the trees, if the camera is still there, I'd like to know. Where are
The camera's on our telephone tree.
Okay.
It's not one of the telephones, it's the light.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
Yeah.
Didn't you say? Yeah, right, Randy.
Right on the phone. Yeah. Somebody had access.
Well, yeah, let's get some information and then.
Jay. Installed that.
Yeah.
I'm an answer for you.
Okay, great. Okay, Michelle has an answer for us in regards to that, I guess.
I neglected to read that because it was on my list. They are on phone poles in the park. They were set up by Joe Weber. I will send you and the police department again his contact number. They are viewable right now on a computer in a set location that I don't. want to share publicly. And Joe needs to come and check the application for the computers here. They are viewable by the police department. Okay.
Everybody should be able to access them. By now, at least, right?
We chose not to do that as a borough when they set them up because if anything's happening, it should go through the police department as a criminal.
The police officers said to me last night they didn't have any access.
They do have access to it.
They do over at the building by the park?
They have to contact Mr. Glenn for access to that.
Yeah.
It used to be on, it can be set up that way. It used to be on the computer, but the application is not. So they have to contact Joe to come back out and have that corrected.
Cameras ever been used for anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
the
caught
kids.
to the, and some other, in the park.
Michelle, are we paying every month?
You did okay, Mom. So we're paying the cameras.
So who's paying for it?
It's a one-time fee,
Okay.
one-time setup fee with the cameras and everything else.
I'd like to see cameras down at the garage and also by the ball field in the concession stand area if we can do
They're
something.
hooked up to electricity.
These are through electric and they are set up in the street.
So many guys to get paid in the door as opposed to electric.
We don't have anything here needed? No, okay. Well,
Everything it is hardwired through conduit underneath to the cameras.
Okay.
The park is dug up and it is done that way. The same person put the cameras down in Holly, in the park down there. They do have, I believe, access to do Wi-Fi. If you have a Wi-Fi server strong enough to operate, but you have to talk to Joe about all that. Okay, I will send you his information already. He sets them up. He'll come and fix them, but I don't know if he will charge a fee or whatever it is that it is.
I'll check it out.
But yeah,
We should have some, all four corners.
Yeah. All right, and we'll get a price and everything, and we'll see what we got, what we can
we
afford.
started
what
with
we-
the park when all the vandalism and
All right.
stuff was not in the park and it cut down on the,
You remember what that cost?
They're not cheap.
it wasn't terribly expensive.
Fine.
Yeah, really, you helped me, and I think you helped me get things rolling. But yeah,
I didn't think they were terribly expensive.
yeah, it wasn't terribly, I think you might have done it for us, cheap, I don't know. We would have to discuss that, but it did, yeah, it wasn't terribly expensive, but it did cut down on the junk paraphernalia being left in the park and the issues being left in the park and.
Now that it's wide open, it's even clearer for us to see driving by. or
But
walking
there
by.
are 4 cameras.
We do need
in
cameras.
the park.
We need signs under surveillance.
I believe there is one on the shed. You're required to post, and I believe there is one on the shed. Mhm.
Let's see what the posting is on that, how many we do need to post or one.
Yes, that's it, we posted.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Yep, thanks. Utilities, Don Miller.
Well, I thought I'd have something to say about the road signs out at the intersection, but nobody's got that.
Nobody, with the sign change you made for the end of the court and the community. Okay.
They were supposed to call me Saturday and never did. Call again.
You want to call them again? Yeah, give it another shot. Tell them it's important to us to get that straightened out. Okay. Thanks, Donnie. Okay, Darren Howell is excused, purchasing and building, Randy Thorpe.
We hire we hire an electrician to take care of 2 lights that have been out now for 6 months.
Oh, the ones around.
Yeah,
Back to work.
that door and then.
In the office.
Randy, did you get that then?
You get an electrician to do it. It's not working.
No, it's the valleys. Yeah, the whole valve.
The motion, yes. And when it always scares me, that's why I always lock the front door. You can't see to go down the steps.
It's a little one on the railing, isn't it? And then there's one outlet.
There's one up in the corner, it's a motion light. Well, we've had trouble with it.
I had one guy. Heard that. Mark Evans.
Oh, no.
He lives right by Mark.
He said to get lessons, he said freeze. Tile, freeze tile, for freeze tile, for things.
Okay, we're good there? Okay, purchasing, no, that's not planning, Jane Barco.
Okay, first of all, I'm happy to report that the ordinances have all been scanned. And I met with Tom Shepstone twice, once here and once down in his office. Phase 1 is completed, and so you will see that the bill has been submitted for phase 1. And the bill is
$3,981.25.
right, and thank you. 3,981. Now, his phase 2 is he's going to take all those ordinances, he's reading them all. He's going to give suggestions to the council. We might have to have a couple of special meetings of ones that need to be updated, number 1. Number 2, ones that maybe need different wording. And number 3, ordinance, a part of ordinances that maybe should be deleted according to law today. Because some of those ordinances are very old. So he is working very hard to do that. And we've heard from the American Legion, we know that. And now the Wayside Park equipment, Michelle and I met together on this. And I'm happy to report that we have some suggestions from them, and they're suggesting that we buy this piece of equipment here. This is their first choice, and it is $25,344
On sale.
well, it was, except I read the back of the, and it's all not on sale anymore. Unfortunately, you bring it out in June. But,
What was that, the price?
$25,344. But remember, we have to hire somebody to insert it into the ground and do that, all that work. So I went around and tried to find anybody that might want to do it. If you could give me a suggestion of who you think we can get. I did talk to Grim about it, and he says, oh boy, that's a small job. Yeah, we did it before, but he says, try to get somebody else if you can, because we got so much going on this fall. So I just said, well, I would get back to him. So if you could suggest somebody else that can do this, it has to be put into cement, and it has to be, everything has to be anchored, and it has to meet the present rules and regulations of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for parks. So it can't be just done by somebody who doesn't understand the right way to put things in.
Is this adding to what we have?
Yes.
Like leave the existing and make a new little area?
No. I think some of the stuff that Mr. Wood said was outdated.
Yeah.
Some of the things have to go away. The swing set
Bouncy's against the law.
has to go. The swing set is
The bouncy, which I think is so cute, they should have it. They
There's
say
some
now it's
stuff
too
that,
dangerous.
yeah, some of the stuff that we got from Grant could probably be relocated, like that basketball thing or that climbing thing. That's the stuff we got from the last grant that came through, that
And
they
I did
decided what
meet-
we were getting.
I did meet with Mr. Wood, and he's retired. So his daughter, Emily, who be over his section of the business, and it's going to be the person that I'm going to work with to make sure that we meet all the rules and regulations for this. This is not going to be done overnight. This is might take 3, 4 months to get it in correctly, or we might even have to wait till spring. But we have to take Mr. Wood's map, make a list of the things we want to not include, make a list of the things we eventually want to include. And as Michelle says, we have to decide where on the property we're going to put it, so that it's access for our children and it's open so that everybody can see the children. So there's no problem about, hiding behind trees or anything.
Yeah, Jane, there's a lot more room now with the trees down and everything else there. You offset things a little bit.
So were we, this was coming out of American Rescue?
Yes.
Right. So we should do a recap, right, of what, remember the expense report you gave last?
Yes, and I have a recap right here.
Okay, I was just running through it
I
myself.
didn't run it off.
Okay.
Because I wasn't sure how much they didn't know. Now, the assets, if you remember, which I'm sure you don't remember, because I didn't either, $163,035.22. The expenditures come up to, with the $6,700 bill for the trees in the park, comes up to $75,084.25. So I subtracted that $75,084.25 from the $163,035.22. And we have left in account $88,150.97. And that is without considering what we're doing in the park. So Legion.
Well, so
And the Legion, of course, has to be deducted out of here.
we had the park cleanup, the Legion, the cleanup day. Wash and dryer, yeah.
All that's already been, that was in my report from last month, right here. And I will list them again next month, all of them, but we'll subtract the Legion, and then we'll have to decide 100% of how much we're going to spend for the equipment and the installation of it in the park. And the commissioners are anxious to get those $30,000 taken care of. So I talked to them on the phone today. So I'm going to try to wiggle around here. I cannot use the matching fund for the Bob Wilson field, but I'm going to try to add enough up here that we come up with the $30,000. You understand what I mean by that, right?
For the labor.
The $30,000 from the commissioner, they want to pay it now. They don't want to pay it. Well, leftover minus the Legion would be about $80,000.
No, I mean the $30,000.
The $30,000 is part of that.
Oh, it's part of.
Part of the 162.
Part of the
Yes.
162. And that was part of the assets. I remember here at the beginning, I put down all the assets.
That money's
And
gone.
so everything together, even with that $209 that they found, is $163,035.22. So I'll have a full report next month, and at that time, I'll tell you exactly what we have left over for the park. And I'm going to meet with one of the commissioners tomorrow about trying to decide on this $30,000, what it's going to be.
Wait, was that Chefstone included in that? I don't think.
Yes.
Chefstone is 10,000.
Yeah.
So that would come off
Yeah, well,
83,
yeah, only, the Chipstone is,
give or take 10.
no, he was 30,
That's only the first phase though. We only.
yeah, that's the first phase, so we have to consider what more we're going to do with him. But his bill is right here, Chipstone management bill, and his bill is $3,981.25.
Yeah, but we put it start at 10,000.
And I already put that in what I said before.
Right, Jane,
Yeah.
you still have the second phase that he's gonna charge you for.
Right, exactly, and we set up to 10,000.
Correct.
So that's what I emphasized to him not to go over 10,000. Well, the second thing, and the best thing, Michelle, is that all of the ordinances will be put online. And from that point on, all we have to do is bring our computers and bring up any ordinances here. And if we want to change them, we can do it right here. And everything will be right online, and hopefully that'll solve that problem.
Waco put in a playground over in Simpson, so you might want to check with Waco.
Okay.
I don't know if Pioneer does small things.
Yeah, I guess once it gets over a certain amount, we're gonna have to put it out for bid anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
So,
It's up there past
It's
free.
11,200.
Son.
yeah. But it'll be total package.
Thank you,
We'll
Rob.
just say blue.
Postcards.
Well, I guess we could buy the playground. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
go on the
All right, but you're going
postcards,
up the hill.
and your postcards,
Yeah, great. Up the
they
hill
might
that
have
would
a
take you to
better
Square
company,
City.
Michelle.
Not the, not
Oh.
one
On
seven.
your postcards. I didn't say
Turn
that
to go
before.
to Frank.
Thank you,
Right.
Mich-
There's a
thank
park
you,
up there
Shelley,
on the right.
bringing it up.
Waco was recommending
Postcards
that.
might have a company that they get it at a lower price that they have a contract with. So what I'm gonna do is call Postcards
Check.
and tell them what you want.
Because I went through all the books that they all sent, and those were the cheapest prices. Otherwise, you're looking $40, $50, $60,000 for it.
I also wish to remind you that we had Pastor Mays here asking about these signs. And this is the special for the signs, which is $1,199.
So what are the signs?
The speeding sign.
He asked for a speeding sign, I'm not saying we're gonna do it. I'm just bringing the information in. And we got it in the, I got this today on the computer. This just came in. This is from CoStar, and this is radar signs. And they want me to contact the company, so I didn't have time to do it yet. Anna Duckworth, anyway, on
Big contract.
how much this sign will be. Hopefully it'll be a lot less than $6,199. So these are things we have to consider in the future.
Maybe even check with Homestead to see what they paid for theirs and where they got it from, the one on Church Street.
Yeah, well, it didn't used to be under CoStar before, it just got under CoStar. So we should be able to get a quite a bit less, but then again, who knows?
So is Woods gonna help us design new parks? I know last meeting we.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
So they'll have a little drawing.
I mean, he's retired, but he oversees his son and his daughter, and three other people working on it.
So is he currently working on it? Or do we have to tell him what?
Well, we have to tell him what we want,
Okay.
and then he wants to check to make sure it's like.
You good, Jay?
Yes. There's something I need.
The Bob Wilson Field, you had funding, Joe.
Oh, Bob Wilson Field, unfortunately, the Greenways turned us down. So that's another nail in our coffin, unfortunately.
Was that the one that we had held in escrow, matching? The different one?
No, that's a different one. This is a new one. We do, our last chance, folks, and you know that I applied for 2 grants under the, different program, that the statewide program for the gambling monies. I applied for the truck, and we applied for $780,000 for this park business. That's going to be announced in December. Even if they'd only fund half of it, we would have enough to go ahead and do 90% of the work. So we're hoping and praying, and as Joe and I said, if we don't get this in December, then we're done.
We have the $160-some thousand. The
Well, we have-
donations,
But we have to notify those people and ask them if they want us to still keep the money.
and we will this way here, so if they want to donate back again, then we can fix the dugouts or the drainage is bad, so whatever we can do with what money we have, it's going to be for the ballpark, and then we'll just fix it up a little bit at a time, if that's what we have to do. Other than that, both lakes, you'll hit the jackpot. Okay, we're all business.
I want to know if we're gonna have these buildings power washed. We keep saying we have a power washer. 4 months later, we're still talking about it. You see the front of this building? Come here in the daytime and look at it. Now, who's going to do it?
Well, Darren offered, I called him up. Darren did offer
But
to
somebody
do,
said in
to
this
do this,
meeting we had one.
to do this, somebody did say we had.
Who said it at the meeting? I didn't say it.
Should be.
You know what it is?
I come over on a Sunday and do it.
Yeah. You're gonna come
What
over,
about
Darren?
SCI?
And if Darren wants to help him, Shane and I work.
They had the opportunity, but they muffed it.
No way.
Is there water out here?
Yes. Right here in the back.
Yeah, Chris has water right down the block.
Whatever comes out, the sun is from the basement.
What do you call those doors that go down? Tell those doors. It's right here.
I think if Chris is well got damaged, he should get reimbursed.
Okay, anything else under new old business?
Do we have garden hose here? Do I have to bring it?
I don't know how quick it is. Well, if not, then borrow one from the, I think there's a good one out in the garage, isn't there?
You can borrow mine, because I had right Dave, he needed an extension when we went over to the other house because of the distance, so he was using my pocket footers. But we don't have one.
All right, there's one more thing that has to be considered. And I left the material in the back room, and you can choose to believe what I'm going to say, or I'll go in the back room and we'll take a 5-minute while I go get the material. But there is no reason to have a zoning hearing. We are not changing zoning out there at,
JJ.
What he's asking is a conditional use, and if you want me to, I'll drop back there and read it to you. But it's under conditional use, like what we did last month with the other project. I don't know how the zoning, and it's very nice that you people volunteered to be on the zoning.
But you have to have one of them anyway.
For what?
Just,
You're required.
we're required to
Oh,
have
yeah,
one.
we're required to have one, yeah. But anyway, I think we should award the conditional use to them. I see no reason not to award it to them, so that I can formulate the letter and get it to the Wayne County Planning Office and do that as part of what they're doing out there and what they're saying. You heard him, you all asking questions. Is there anything else that anybody that doesn't understand why it's under conditions? As I said, I'll drop back there and get it sitting right on the desk. You want me to read it to you?
Make the motion, Jane, I'll second.
Before you make the motion, I'd like to be heard. That is all submitted here to review, making sure that it's all legally proper. Okay? Rich Henry and Jeff Treat, I reached out to them the last time we had a conditional use issue. I asked them to do it the right way. If somebody comes in for conditional use, what does it normally cost in attorney's fees? I wasn't with them at the same time. They both said about $10,000. So for you guys to just rubber stamp a stack of legal documents, I don't think is proper. I think it's your duty to have it reviewed legally to make sure everything is proper and go through all those maps and read everything that's on it.
That's why we submitted it.
And read those folders. So, it doesn't have to be me, but I'm just letting you guys know. I'm paid to be here at meetings. I'm not reviewing any of them, okay? I get $4,000 a year, all right? Those guys said about $10,000 to review that, do it properly, make sure the meeting is done right, make sure the minutes are done right. You have concerned citizens here who are neighbors, okay? So if something's not done right, the borough is going to get sued. That's all I have to say. I'm not looking for an answer from anybody.
Well, I disagree with you. We've used conditional use many times over the years, and we had no hearing about it. Once or twice, we had some questions about it, and since it's outlined in our ordinance, there's no reason to deny, and that is why we submitted to the Department of Planning at the Wayne County Courthouse, because they then review it. And this is just a preliminary, folks. This is just a preliminary. This is not the buildings. This is not anything else except the preliminary drawing of what they're contemplating.
I suggest that we submit it to the courthouse first, let them comment. Bring it back.
Just make a motion and pass it.
No, I would suggest.
Isn't that the request?
The county courthouse. There's no reason to make a motion tonight, right? It doesn't stop.
Well, I promised you that we were going to do it. If not, then you just, maybe, you want me to sit here the next month?
I agree with Chris only because I'm right across the road. And there are my neighbors, one sitting right back there, that's in his backyard.
We did,
Okay.
because we did do the conditional use last month, you know, for the people that are next to your.
Okay, but why don't we know about it?
We did have a hearing.
I don't know anything about it until tonight. I wasn't at the last meeting, and that's medical issues. That's why I haven't been at the last few.
Were all notice provisions properly followed according to the statute for that last year?
Yes.
I was asked to look at it.
It wasn't a hearing,
It wasn't in here.
because we should have been there, if there was, right?
They were.
Where was the
that
hearing?
kind of hearing is
Right
different.
here.
Oh, okay.
The zoning hearing board hearing. The neighbors don't have to be notified under a
So
condition.
county won't look at it until we.
Well, we could submit, I could submit a letter to them asking them to look at it.
Nothing else to say.
When does NEIC take over? Because they would do the anyway. They would throw that down.
Well, they wouldn't at this phase, because
Right.
this phase is just a preliminary drawing. That's all it's asking. And it's asking that we agree
That we're okay with it.
that it's okay for conditional use because of what our zoning ordinance, which I could go back and there.
It's already conditional use, correct?
It's there, it's already in the district. And right there where George is sitting, that's the drawing map. And it tells you what each section is allowed.
So we have to make a motion on it. It's already conditional use.
To make a condition.
To make it a conditional use.
It's already-
Conditional use.
Nobody's looked through them. You guys are voting to approve them. It's a big stack of documents. Nobody's looking. Voting to approve. Sorry, I said more than I said.
No, we're asking the county to look at them and give us their recommendations of what they feel. That's what we're paying the county people for,
Is that the
to do
motion?
this.
Is that the motion to have the county review that paperwork?
Yeah.
That's the only motion. I'm not gonna
To
hurt
not
anything.
grant, so the motion's not to grant the conditional use.
I thought it was, the way it was being presented.
Right,
But,
so the original wording was the conditional use building permit to grant. But if it's going to be just for the county
But I
to look
can
at,
tell you, it positively is under the conditional use for that one.
Because it's motor and vehicle, motor equipment sales.
recording the minutes tonight or just writing them down?
Motor and motor
she's
equipment
got the
sales.
report.
Done?
Okay. We're doing those, right? We always have those, right?
Yep, I save them, and if anybody wants them, I'll forward them.
Well, we should have an official record.
Service station, vehicle equipment sales operation, car wash.
Should be reviewed by some other supply solicitors.
Did you
Craig,
get
will
that?
verify what I have, what I wrote down. Just text her, just erase it.
Chris ought to get a raise.
Mr. Miller has something like that.
Additional uses, service stations, vehicle and equipment sales operations, car wash, hotels, motels, two-family dwellings, multifamily dwellings, supermarkets, nursing homes, pet food establishments, shopping centers, or malls, body or center shop. That's what needs conditional.
So could you read?
Number 2.
Saying that you should have people. That's what
Just one. Come on, if you have something to offer. No, just don't forget.
Well, it's my question is, if we look in, if there's legal fees involved with having these pilot documents reviewed, do those legal fees get passed on to the Bobcat people, or is that coming out of our?
Only says that they have to pay for it under zoning. It does not say that.
But it is conditions, so you can put conditions on.
Yes, we can put condition on it. That's what we're asking Wayne County to tell us.
Yeah, they need to kick it back. So I'm not sure one of those conditions. Yeah.
Give me an example of a condition.
So I'm not sure, but it's something that would have to be looked at. Is that one of those conditions is to take the attorney's fees to review and work with them if there's any objectionable things in there. So that's another thing that would have to
Then we'll be charged with discrimination because last month we just went through a conditional use for the.
Let's send it to the courthouse. All right, so can you make the motion?
It's hard for some of us, Jane, though, to know that, realize your years of service here and everything you did, and then our solicitors disagreeing with you. If it went to the courthouse, it's shame, possibly.
That's what I want to do, is send it to the courthouse. But then what asked me, it's going to the Department of Planning.
Now, decisions are made, and then we may have some time limits that kicks in tonight, if this was presented to us. Everything needs to be clear. Look, I'm not trying to jump on business for me. Send it down to Henry or Tree. A lot of this stuff a long time. Not trying to drum up business. Okay.
I have something to say. That's why we have a solicitor, and an attorney. We were in a meeting maybe 10 years ago. Our solicitor wasn't there. We made a decision. It took us 5 years to get clear. You say the borough didn't pay anything. But I believe you know what I'm talking about. Police issue, okay? Because we went ahead, executive session. I know this is not executive session. We paid the price 5 years. Okay? Insurance company dropped us after that. That attorney made some big bucks.
Not this attorney. Not sure it's you.
Excuse me, sorry, let me finish.
Sorry.
And our attorney, our solicitor was there. We were using his office for the hearings and everything. Didn't charge us a penny. Was there for legal advice for myself, the chief. But anyway, that's all I have to say. I learned.
So basically, you're saying it backfired.
We thought we could do what we wanted.
Right. Don't work that way.
That's all.
I'm here to give advice. Nobody has to follow.
I agree with you.
You can make a motion and vote on it.
I agree with you 100%.
We're not going to vote on it. We can just get the courthouse.
Can we send this to the courthouse?
Here, it said we're going to be.
Or
You want to make a motion to that effect? And we'll vote and see what we have.
They have to review it.
It has to go to the courthouse.
It has to go for review.
So we need to make a motion to do that, because I think we already said that.
Yeah.
But I think I'll read those.
Do it in a motion.
If I go read those, okay.
Next, for principal permitted uses and accessory uses should be issued as a matter of right, provided the standards contained in this chapter are otherwise met. Conditional uses shall be subject to additional review procedures as specified therein. That's what I'm asking the Wayne, Department of Planning, who have done it 40 times in the past to do this.
We don't have to make conditional use issues here. We had one last one. What was the last one?
It wasn't last one.
Why?
July.
Huh? What was the last one before that? 10 years, 20 years?
No, no, more often.
Well, if they have conditional use on a Dollar General.
But the thing is, we don't know,
10 years ago.
do we know the specifications were met though? That is.
So that's why it's preliminary. Then you fully expect the courthouse to come back with suggestions and with ideas and give the different kind of interpretation of what they feel. That's their job. That's what they're being paid for, to do this. I can't see the borough paying out $5,000-$10,000. We have no right. We can't demand $5,000 or $10,000 from people.
Send it to the county, let them review it, and then get back to you on what they find might not be that we need to reset, and then we'll do what we gotta do. Other than that, we're just gonna sit here for.
Well, it's been presented. I'm guessing you guys are, the clock started ticking tonight. So I'm guessing that if something's not done in a certain amount of time, it's just disapproved.
That's true. Very true.
Very true. So somebody should look at that too. Spare time. We all know when the deadline is.
60 days, isn't it?
Okay.
So you're instructing me to write a letter to just say to them, just look at this. Is that all you think?
What did we say? Take Chris's advice. What else are we gonna say? Okay.
What is his advice?
I did look it up. Make sure it's approved.
You said you felt good at going
I
through the
thought that's
county.
what I was here for.
We should have a lawyer if we have to sit down with them again.
How long they're gonna look through it? That's fine. I think this conversation started out with a motion to grant, continue additional use. Please.
Like we did last month. Yes.
Listen, because you didn't do it right last month, doesn't mean you should not do it right again this time. Maybe you'll get away with it. Maybe you won't. Okay? I'm gonna take that risk. Okay?
So you're saying that we did it wrong last month?
I'm not saying that. What I'm telling you is it should be reviewed. What I'm telling you is it should be reviewed by an attorney. That's what I'm telling you. I won't do it. Couple guys in the county that'll specialize in it. And with your zoning hearing board's very good with it. Your Henry and Jeff Tree. That's my advice. You don't have to follow.
Mr. President?
Well, I'll go with the solicitor's advice on this one because that's why we have a solicitor. I don't disagree with Jane because we did it before without a lawyer, but I don't know the law that well to make a decision on.
Everything with that has to conform to our law. That's a lot of paper.
Okay, Jane, would you take that to send that to the court?
I'll take it to the courthouse. Maybe I'll make up a letter, maybe I won't.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move on. Yeah, we got new business. No, we don't got new business. We need a motion to adjourn.
Now 3 months have gone by to the refrigerator.
Randy, you're purchasing. Would you get us a new refrigerator for here?
Because the mayor says it leaks or something.
What zoning people sit there when we.
Doesn't get cold.
That's the same small door.
What was that?
It's like something to be for like a decent one.
Any ice
Yeah,
should have been here when
Get a real refrigerator.
A real one.
What did you say?
the zoning people should have been here when they were here.
No, that has to be considered separately. They can't come to the.
So he can look at it. Why can't he come?
Because we're not asking for a change of zoning. Nobody's asking for a change of zoning. Two of them are sitting right here.
He needs
I
the
think
zoning company.
Well, yeah, but they could have looked at it. Right?
No, they want to take that
No,
liability.
they don't, that isn't their responsibility.
There's a lot of liability with that step right there.
Yeah.
I'm off the hook now.
Well, I did notice in the maps anyway, it did have everything in its zoning written on the map. They're supposed to be.
There's a lot of work to do. A lot of review. I Waymart program. Yes, the planning commission will excellent. What they do, no question about.
But what's our deadline again? Do we have a deadline?
We don't have a deadline.
We don't have a deadline, okay.
When is
I think you ought to find out if there is a deadline.
There's a deadline for review.
Does
It
it say in
states so
there?
many days for review,
The clock ticking?
but the clock doesn't tick until it's submitted.
Okay, does anybody else have anything to say? We're gonna,
Motion to adjourn.
Jay will send that to the county, possibly, and then we'll bring it up for conversation next month again. Unless we need an emergency. Wait, Attorney Farrell has,
Well, we're going to meet November the 1st, so make sure in the advertisement it says, and for general business.
I'm not doing advertisements though.
I'm not doing either.
Yeah, that was because I don't want to have to.
It's your conditions.
Yeah,
That's my condition. I'm still going to do the advertising.
it needs to be done.
yeah, it needs to be done.
Right.
It doesn't need to be done.
How is it, I don't have understanding of how. You can't just say do something.
I would tell you, but I've been questioned here tonight, so I don't want to offer any more advice. I can tell you exactly how.
I don't know, we're in kindergarten classes right now.
Okay, don't go there.
Thanks for
Get it.
Appreciate it.
Call the lady at the Wayne Independent, not the lady, kind of, whatever the phone.
I'll talk to her, we'll talk.
Talk to her, she'll tell you how to do it. And you just said that we're having a hearing to consider a budget of 2023 and workshop. You can't use workshop anymore, that's been picked up. And any other general business that has come before. That way, we can discuss other things when we're here.
What's the talk about the parks?
Talk about anything.
I get them here, brought them up.
It's on November 1st.
I don't know if I'll be ready.
One final thing too is that I know we went over this issue before, how the information. I just don't find anything that says it's broken. You find something specific, not just somebody else's opinion, unless it's a judge, you find another township or court that says that you can't do it. I haven't found anything.
There's,
That you can't.
under liquid fuels.
Shelley addressed that last time.
But according to Senator Baker,
Right?
according to Senator Baker, there is no part of taxpayer money that can be used. And that would be,
So if you promise
no matter what
to find
fund.
a basis for that opinion, I'd be happy to look at it, but I can't find anything. If I recall, it was a quid pro quo for the Waymart Borough Police were allowed to come in, use Silvercrest Drive, they were allowed to park there, to whatever, get speeders. And That was it, the quick pro forma returned that the borough was found. So each side is getting out, just like up here, each side is getting out. Please, that's fine, solid basis for it.
Okay.
And on that note, we need a motion to adjourn.
Already been made. It's already been made. Or-
I made it again.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
I'll second. Well, I'll be back.